Hello, in this video I'll be doing the 6-month review of the 12-inch sliding miter saw. Check it out. So I've owned this Kobalt saw for just over 6 months now. It's probably been closer to 8, but using it very consistently. It's the first miter saw I've personally owned, so my first review I was absolutely in love with it. It's still a really good saw. I haven't used any other miter saws outside of this other than a super old DeWalt. Shout out to Daryl. But this one's great. They're both really good in terms of the other miter saw I've used. I am still happy I purchased this one. It's sort of a middle of the road or lower cost with a lot of really cool features. I will touch on a couple different features that I didn't mention in the first video that I've since discovered or realized that I have at my fingertips that not all miter saws do. One of the cool things is these extendable wings. They come out pretty far. If I didn't have a table or if I was taking this to a job site, they're really beneficial. I did a project on a site with this and it really helped out not having to have some kind of sawhorse there. So the other thing is the bevel. I didn't mention this in the first video. The bevel is super convenient, easy to use, really easy to change, and it locks in automatically at a couple of different stops there at 0, I think 45. These side panels are removable. You just screw them out. That's how I had the 0 clearance type fence in the last video. I would say things I don't care for on this is the throat plate here is really wide, and things get stuck in there pretty easily. Small scraps. There's actually some in there right now that I can't get with my finger, so I either have to unscrew these 6 screws to get it or fish it out with some kind of pliers or something. There's only been a couple situations where it grabs the wood and flings it out, and I have the shop vac connected to it, so it's not like flying at my face. It's not dangerous per se, but it is kind of annoying. So next sort of upgrade for me would be to install a 0 clearance fence, basically cutting a piece of wood that shape and then cutting straight down into it, so you're not losing any scraps down there. Another thing I didn't mention on the first video was this bevel on the side. So yes, it does bevel swing right to left. I'm not sure if that's even the right term, but it's a dual bevel, which I think is how it's explaining it can tilt left to right as well. So the saw moves like I just showed you, but it also tilts like that. That's cool. That's a cool feature. I've only used it a couple times when I was doing some trim and it worked well. It's a hassle to get in there to make that adjustment. So you see this little knob on the side turns to set it. It's got to stop at 48, 33.9, and 45 degrees. But you can set it to any that you want. It's using this little pin. So you'd think that has loosened it. No, it hasn't. This is just like a stop lock, I guess. You have to unbolt, as far as I'm aware, you have to unscrew. There's 2 bolts in the back here. You have to loosen those in order to tilt it and then retighten them. As you can see, it's kind of annoying for me to get back in there. I'm standing in front of lumber that's on the ground and a dust stopper. So it's kind of annoying to get back there. If I'm reaching all the way back here to use a socket wrench to get that out, it's just not worth it. If someone knows an easier way to do that, please comment and let me know. I just don't use that feature because it's difficult and I don't really have the need. If I'm making some kind of angled bevel cut like that, I'm typically just going over to my table saw and I can make that adjustment really quickly. Other things worth mentioning, on the other side, there is a depth stop screw. It's just a simple screw that you lower or raise, and that changes how far down the blade will go. So if I want to cut into a piece of wood, not all the way through the wood, I can set my depth stop to exactly where I want it to stop at. This is great for half laps or other kinds of joinery to take away material. You can just saw through it a couple times. If you don't have a dado stack for your table saw, that's a quick way to get around that with that depth stop. You're just going to be making multiple passes, slide it, another pass, slide it, another pass, and then cleaning it out with a chisel. So that's a really easy adjustment on this other side, and that's pretty much it. So overall, I'm still enjoying it. I'm still happy I made the purchase. Use it very frequently, almost every single project I use the miter saw, and it's holding true. I'd say now I'm thinking, this blade has been really nice. There's some, I don't know how normal this is. There's some maybe wiggle, if you will. So if I'm going up to, and I just want to cut off a blade length of material here, I can push the material into the saw, lift it up, and now it's on top of the material. So I'm not sure if that's normal. I like that because I can take off only a blade length of material at the end. The other thing is changing this blade is super annoying. You have to undo a couple different guys to get to the arbor bolt, and my arbor bolt practically stripped. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to change out another blade without replacing that bolt. I called Kobalt and found out that they do not replace that part. That arbor bolt is not a replaceable part. You have to buy a whole new saw. Based on the warranty, they offered to give me a new saw. I already had this all set up, so I didn't want to take them up on that. I may take them up on that later if I decide to change this blade and it actually does fully strip. But right now it's just not a necessity, but be wary of that. But yeah, it's a great purchase for a first saw, at least. Like I said, I'm not super experienced in miter saws, but for me and for what I do in my small garage, it's been working out really great. Hey, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Thank you so much for watching this video. Check out the other videos I have on this saw showing measurements and my initial take, and subscribe. Thanks so much, and God bless.